Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. While we're waiting to get started, tell us in the chat where you're zooming in from today. Michigan, North Dakota, all over the place.
Houston, Texas, Florida. Okay. Oh, I see Arkansas in the house.
Awesome. Napa, Orlando,
A little bit of everywhere.
H-Town in the house. Indiana. Wow, good group.
All right. So it's 2 after, so let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, The Power of Networking. My name is Stephanie Hurst and I'm the Member Programs Manager for the National Apartment Association. Thank you for joining us. Before we get started, I do want to go over a few housekeeping points. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the NAA website on the webinars page by early next week. During the discussion, you can type questions into the chat box on your screen, and we will share them with our presenters. We've left time at the end for questions, and we'll be taking questions throughout today's session. And now I will turn it over to today's moderator, Ty Jackson. Ty?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much, Stephanie, for inviting me to the panel and for turning the mic over. Hello, everyone. I am your moderator today. I am Ty Jackson. I am the association's executive for the Arkansas Apartment Association. I am an NAAEI facilitator, and I'm also the podcast host for Talking with Ty, and I am your favorite facilitator and speaker. Today, we have an amazing panel to talk about the power of networking. So I'm going to introduce this panel to you guys.
Ty? I think she froze.
Monster.
I guess.
An NAA Leadership Lyceum graduate and past NAA NSC Executive Board member. As an apartment industry executive, Angie has demonstrated exceptional leadership skills through networking and volunteer opportunities throughout the country, building a network of resources to understand the unique challenges and opportunities within specific markets. Angie is a true leader and is evident in her commitment to delivering high-level customer service experience in her role as a National Strategic Account Manager for Court. She recognizes the importance of building a strong relationships with clients, industry professionals, and peers to deliver insight and solutions to impact her partnerships. Angie's executive expertise and commitments to excellence makes her a respected and influential figure in the field. In addition to her professional achievements, she and her husband, Kirk Downey, team up to share the industry's knowledge, insights, and best practices to inspire and connect people across the country. Angie also loves to spend time with their friends, their 3 adult children, and their families, and she simply adores her granddaughter, Sylvia, and of course, the English bulldog, Booker. Welcome to the panel, Angie. Next on our panel today, we have Shane Raby. Shane is a regional lease-up property manager for Middleburg Communities. He landed in the multifamily industry in 2015 after 20 years as a retail executive and has since been very active on multiple committees and boards across various associations. Shane currently serves on the Apartment Association of Greater North Carolina Next Gen Chair and as chair of the Education Advisory Council for the Greater Charlotte Apartment Association. Shane holds his CAM and CAPS credential, and he's an award volunteer instructor. Multifamily industry and education is his passion. Welcome to the panel, Shane.
Thank you, Ty.
You're welcome. Last but not least on the panel, we have Ashia Shepherd. Ashia is a Temple University graduate majoring in communications and construction management. Ashia loves to lead and build teams and has been a manager in several industries, including construction and hospitality. She is currently the Assistant Vice President at AMC Delancey Group, overseeing the effective management of over 55 scattered site properties, including leasing, maintenance, capital improvements, and property management teams. Ashia is a licensed real estate salesperson in Pennsylvania and is a certified mental health first aid instructor through the National Council of Mental Well-Being. Ashia also obtained her CAM certification through the National Apartment Association and was a 2021 graduate of the National Apartment Association Diversity and Leadership Program. She's a member of the NAAEI faculty, and she facilitates CAP, CAM, and CAMT courses. She currently serves on 3 national committees, including serving as the vice chair for RPM Careers Committee. Ashia is passionate about DE&I, authenticity, and leadership. She creates contents and leads discussions to empower managers to become more effective and successful leaders. Welcome to the panel, Ashia. I mean, after reading all of that, you guys have some industry knowledge and expertise that I cannot wait for us to share today. So we're just going to jump right into the questions. Now, the first question I'm going to read, this is for everyone to answer. So we're going to start with Angie. If you could answer first. Ashia, you go next, and then Shane, we're going to kick it off to you. So our first question, guys, is how did you get involved in the industry? Take it off mute, Angie.
There we go. I guess that helps, right?
Yes.
I've got hours to tell you how I got involved. No, I'm just kidding. I'm a legacy. I got involved in the industry because my father was a former chairman of the board of the National Apartment Association. So by default, I, ended up in this industry. I graduated with an art degree. I paint, I weave, I sculpt, and my dad said, here's the deal. You are going to graduate with an art degree because you're very talented at that, but you're going to go lease apartments. And that's literally how I got into this industry, and have just kind of grown my career through that over the years. Been 30 plus years, as you guys heard earlier, and have been involved ever since. So
no, that's an amazing story, and we're glad that your dad did that, because now we get to share this experience with you in the multifamily industry. So Ashia, how did you get started?
So not similar to Angie, I'm not a legacy, but I went to school for communications because I wanted to be Oprah, and then construction because I wanted to build things. And it just was like one of those things where I was doing construction management and I loved it. And I worked for a company that also owns the buildings that they develop. And we had some buildings, and I was like, hey, I really love these. I don't want to leave. How can I keep working in them? And they said, do you want to be a property manager? And I was like, sure, I'll shoot my shot. And I've been doing it with this company for 8 years, and it's just been a great experience.
Amazing. We're definitely glad to have you into the multifamily industry as our joyful leader. And Shane, last but not least, how did you get involved in the industry?
Well, as you mentioned in my lovely intro, I spent about 20 years in retail. And during that time, of course, that came with all the holidays, the weekends, evenings, Easter Sundays, Thanksgiving midnight madnesses, all those wonderful things that are part of retail. So I received a recruiting message on LinkedIn, which of course is a wonderful networking platform. And it offered something I had never had before, which of course was a stable schedule. At the time, I had a small child at home, and I thought it couldn't hurt to hear what the recruiter had to say. So I took the interview, and now here I am.
You know what? That is so amazing. And like you said, the stable schedule, there's so much that the multifamily industry gives to us. And you guys had amazing answers. And hopefully it shows everyone that's listening, there's no right way to get into this industry. I myself walked into a leasing office one time looking for an apartment. And I'm like, this looks like a cool place to work. And that's how I landed 20 years later. So moving on to the next question, and this is the question for all too, and we're going to start with Ashia on this question. How has networking helped your career?
So for me, networking has been a game changer, and I don't say that lightly. I'm with a really small company, so I love where I'm at, but networking has really allowed me to, one, learn from other companies and other individuals and see what they're doing and how I can bring it back to elevate my career and my organization. And then also, it has put me in touch with people like you and all the wonderful ladies that we know in our affinity group, Melanin and Multifamily, which has just made my personal life and professional life so much better. So networking has truly changed my career.
Awesome. Shane, how would you say that networking has helped your career?
It has definitely expanded my reach. People know my name, people know my face. I got my proverbial seat at the table simply by exposing myself to others who already had said seat. So even when I wasn't at the table, my name was being said at the table, and that exposed me to others who would think of me. And, you know, when new opportunities came available, and like not just job opportunities, things like association opportunities, volunteer opportunities, board seats, training opportunities, and so much more.
I love it. Angie, what do you have for us?
Well, you know what? I those because it is important to network so you can reach out and have that ability to ask people questions. You also want to make sure that you're networked so you can establish yourself in a seat at the table, in a leadership position, at an association, and various other places. So I think networking provides an opportunity for you to meet peers that you can lean on and trust to give you advice on kind of navigating the nuances of multifamily. Not only that, but as a supplier and somebody who has gone from the property management side to the supplier side, it was really important for me to network with those supplier connections as well. When I made that jump, I was able to leverage those relationships I had with my supplier partners to learn this side of the business, to learn how to navigate, how to get emails, how to yes, emails, yes, people, yes, that was really hard. But yes, to try and navigate all of that on what do you do on the supplier side? How do you navigate? And then really, honestly, y'all, my supplier network is my go-to. They are my folks. They are my go-to when it comes to me traveling across the country. Same thing with property management, owner managers as well. Just like Shane said, just like Ashia said, you have that ability. I travel nationally, Ty, you travel nationally, and these folks that we've met at NAA, with NAA Education Institute, or on the committees with NAA, you can call them up when you get to the city, and they will welcome you with open arms, and they will help you navigate those markets. So it's to help me tremendously in a lot of different ways.
Yes, you guys gave some amazing answers, and being a person in the multifamily industry that networks, and networking has opened up the door to each piece of my career. I would say that the multifamily industry is like no other, because this is a relationship industry.
Wait, what? What?
Relationship. You have to have the relationships. And yes, I will say, probably being a leasing agent, I applied for the assistant manager, applied for the property manager. But once I crossed over to the supplier side, it was a relationship. And it, like you said, Angie, when you're out there on the supplier side, it's those relationships that get you in the door and close the deal for you. So relationships and networking are super important.
Absolutely.
So question number 3, this is going to be for Shane and Angie. What is the hardest lesson you've learned about networking?
Angie, would you like to go first, or you want me to kick us off?
Why don't you kick us off, Shane?
Sure. I would say the hardest lesson for me was not doing it, and feeling like I was missing out on some opportunities where for so long I was the shy guy, and I just didn't see the bigger picture of the benefits that came from networking. And I saw others growing quickly in their multifamily careers and realized that I might have been missing out on some of those opportunities by not making my presence known. And that was, something I jumped on the bandwagon with and quickly learned the value of networking.
Awesome.
Absolutely. I mean, networking is the value of networking is really infinite. And as long as you, I think, apply yourself or throw yourself into those situations to meet new people. And I think that's the biggest challenge. Don't ever be afraid to approach somebody at any of the association meetings and introduce yourself. That's really the only way you're going to make those opportunities where you'll be able to benefit from them and network with other people and learn more if you're not putting yourself out there in that regard.
No, I love it. Just to piggyback off of what you two both said, I think the biggest disservice you can do to yourself in this industry is not network. Yep. Show up at the events, we go to them, we get dressed up, we put our lipstick on, and then we sit with the people we came with. I think being the AE and being able to see it from, I've been in leasing, property management, supplier part, and now being the AE and looking at it from a full picture. When I see people come to luncheons or networking events, apartmentalized, and then you spend the whole time with who you came with. Just be intentional. I encourage people to be intentional about sitting with different people and getting to know the people that are with you. So before we move on to the next question in the chat, just to piggyback off of what you said, Shane, about the recruiter, Jennifer says, it never hurts to hear what a recruiter has to say. And Pat says, a recruiter is how I got started 36 years ago. Angie's dad, Tony, was one of my best mentors and the inspiration for so many twists and turns in my career. There's twists and turns in the multifamily career? Okay.
Not at all. Oh my gosh.
All right, so question number 4, we're going to kick this one to Shane and Angie again. Oh. What is your networking pet peeve?
Oh my. All right. So before I jump into my pet peeve, I'm gonna tack on to something you just said, Ty, about making sure people sit with different people. I think all of us on the panel in some capacity are instructors, whether it's for NAEI or for our companies or for our local associations. But as a credential instructor, I make it a point to tell my class they cannot sit with their coworkers. And if I am teaching multiple modules and they're coming back to me for another session, they have to sit in a different seat with someone else than they sat with the first day. So just a little best practice plug for any of you instructors out there. It is very beneficial. But my pet peeve, do not slide into my DMs. Do not try to sell me stuff. When people introduce themselves to me in person or slide into those LinkedIn DMs with an immediate sales pitch, it's a complete turnoff for me. Get to know me first. Like you guys mentioned, it is a relationship business, and that includes relationship selling. Don't just assume you already know what it is that I need or what my business needs. Ask me questions, get to know me, be genuine. It is a very people-oriented business, and it's human nature to do business with those you feel comfortable with, but you cannot exercise that relationship selling without first establishing a relationship.
Oh, I love it. Shane, you are dropping those gems. I mean, every time you open up your mouth, I hope they got their pen and their paper, because you are coming with some real live stuff today. Yes, come on, Angie, follow that.
Oh my, that's huge. No, but you're so right. I think, anybody, especially on the supplier side, you can't just jump into a situation and automatically go for the sell. This is a very relationship driven industry. And we always like to tell people, my husband and I, and even the National Suppliers Council, when we're mentoring people and trying to make those connections and building out other people's networks, is people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust.
There you go.
Know, like, and trust in that specific order. So if they don't know you, then they're probably not going to do business with you. And like Shane said, they're going to be offended if you come at them with that type of sales approach. So take the time to get engaged in the apartment association, whether it's NAA or your local affiliate, your state affiliate, to get to know people on a personal level. That level of networking in the apartment industry will take you further than just going at Shane saying, hey, Shane, I've got a product and I want you to sit down and sell it to you. It doesn't work that way. You got to build that trust. You got to build your knowledge on what Shane's group really needs. Shia's group really needs. You need to know that. And networking with your peers, networking with other suppliers will help you develop that level of interest and that level of knowledge for you to be able to go into those situations. But networking is super huge. It is a major part of getting to know who you're selling to, who you're talking to, and who you're engaging with.
Yes, I love it. Like you just said, Angie, people buy from people. People buy from people, and the word genuine came up in the chat after you said it, or at the same time that you said it, Shane. Genuineness, authenticity.
Yep.
People can see right through the fakeness. So if you don't listen and you just try to pitch your product, how do you even know if I need it?
Yep.
So you have to listen and build that rapport first. Before we move on, there are some things in the chat, but I cannot leave this question without telling my networking pet peeve. And because I have to put it out there, my networking pet peeve is when I am at a networking event and I see suppliers and they have their flyer in their hand and they're talking to a property manager that has a margarita in her hand and they're selling. That's not the time to sell. That's the time to build the relationship and get to know somebody. It's the time to just say, hey, Angie, how are you? How is your granddaughter?
There's
How's
a
your-
difference between networking and selling. There is a big difference there, and you have to work on the networking piece before you can get into the selling piece.
Definitely, you have to. So in the chat, we have JP Campbell. JP said, connecting with someone on LinkedIn and then getting a sales pitch 2 minutes later. LinkedIn is your friend, people. All right, Jordan says, I love that. Jolie says, when someone only engages in a conversation to promote their own agenda without showing genuine interest in establishing a connection.
Yep.
We talked about that. We have another one from Irving. He says, I always challenge myself to meet at least 2 new people that I don't know when I go somewhere. We are in the people's business. April says, I like when I go to lunch and I learn that we have assigned seats. I meet new people every time. All right, these people are going off today. Jennifer is the last one. Jennifer says, going to a fun event like Charity Bingo in your local association is a great way to laugh with others and learn about them.
Yeah.
See, these are all in line with what you guys are saying. Learn about the person, connect genuinely with the person, and the sale and the business will come after that. All
Network,
right.
network, people, network.
Network, we can't say it loud enough, network. So question number 5, this one is going to go to Angie and Ashia. And Ashia, we have not heard from you, so we want to start with you.
Yeah.
It says, how have you been seeing how have you seen networking change over the years?
Ty, I wanted to say something about the pet peeve question while we're on, like, I know we was off it, but we're on it. So the one thing I would say is, be who you say you are. So like, I have never done business with Angie directly, but every time I've seen her within the national space or any event, she is professional, on it, organized. So if and when I had the opportunity to do business with Angie, I would already know because she presents herself in that way. Same thing with Shane, same thing with you. So I think a lot of times people don't realize when you're on committees, if you show up and you're punctual and you're on top of it, I will remember that. And then later on, when it's time to do business, know like they're about their business, whatever their business is.
Sure.
So that
We
would
love
just,
it. And Jolie said, Ashia on point.
But as far as how I've seen it change, I think for me, the biggest thing is, especially like during COVID, I did not use like LinkedIn or really Zoom as much as I needed to use it now. So I think just the ability to network with people across the country, the world has gotten smaller in such a great way. Whereas like I can have friends who are in Arkansas or California or Florida and talk to them once a week and know what's going on and really have the ability to expand my reach, know it, and just know more than you knew previously. So I think the biggest change is like, obviously COVID was a horrible thing for the world and a really tough time for our industry, but it brought us even closer. So taking advantage of that, and again, to what Shane said, if we connect on LinkedIn, make a genuine connection before you slide in my DMs.
Boom. So Angie, what do you think about that? How have
Now,
you seen
now I'm feeling
networking
like a
change?
grandma of the group here, y'all. Networking has changed tremendously. Holy mackerel. You know, it used to be a business card and a handshake at a meeting. Because of COVID, we went virtual, and now we have Zoom meetings, and now we have social media channels, and now we have all kinds of different digital ways to engage with people. Even though when we were prepping for this, y'all, I don't know if it was Shane or Shiu who said it, was, you know, all people, I think you said that, no, I'm just kidding, use business cards, right? Some of us still use business cards, but then there's people who have digital cards where you pop it up on your phone, a little QR code, all that good stuff. So networking has changed tremendously. You just have to kind of gauge how intrusive you're going to be before you know, how do you build that engagement digitally, virtually? And then how do you get that genuine opportunity for that sales opportunity? And that's a really tricky thing. And again, going back to what the topic is networking, is really engaging with people, trying to find out, what do they like? What do they not like? Look at their LinkedIn profile. Look at some of their business profiles at the local association as well. Get to know what they like. If they are a government affairs person, they're very interested in that, or they're very interested in education, try and get on some of those committees with that person. Try and get into those opportunities where you are building that relationship and that network in a non-sales, in a non-abrasive or forward way, where you can, like Ashia says, you know, being on her committee, she's a committee chair. I've gotten to know her through my committee work there. And so utilizing those opportunities to do that is super huge. But networking has tremendously changed. And yes, it is very intrusive to send a sales message in LinkedIn. I get them all the time. I'm like, I'm not even in property management, and y'all are trying to sell me a roof? I don't think you even looked at my profile, people. You are not networking or doing sales research right. But those are the types of things, and those are the ways that networking has changed over the years. But, you know, I think, again, during COVID, we learned the strength of this industry, the strength of the work that we're doing, the rapport building we're doing, is the face-to-face, is the engagement on the committees, is the engagement at the committees on the local level as well as the national level, to build out solid networks of people that you can rely on.
Yes, definitely. And I agree with you. Our networking has definitely changed. What I will say is the same and will remain the same is people. Is the connection, the wanting of the personal connection with people. And sometimes, you know, even with multifamily being on site, there's a lot of new different software and revenue software management programs, but the basics sometimes is what gets you through the day. So we have to remember that in where we're networking, we're still connecting with people. So make sure you're connecting with people out there. So moving along to question number 6, this is going to be for Shane, Angie, and Ashia. And we're going to start with you, Shane. So it says your favorite way to network and your favorite platform for networking.
Oh, I definitely think my favorite platform for networking is by far LinkedIn. I think my favorite way to network is probably via storytelling. I think it's easy to relate to others and to get to know others through their experiences and their stories. And by being a good, empathetic listener, you're often able to build on the conversation from there with your own tellings. And that's really how you solidify those bonds and those relationships. One of my favorite quotes from Maya Angelou, I'm sure you guys have all heard it before, and I won't say the whole thing, but you'll recognize it from the ending where she says, people will never forget how you made them feel. Storytelling evokes raw, real emotion. And when you're speaking about something that you're passionate about, others are going to pick up on that passion and they're going to remember how you made them feel. And a good storyteller engages their audience and makes them feel included and can convey some of the same emotion that they are feeling in their storytelling to those that are listening. So I think storytelling has a very powerful impact, and it's a great way to network without necessarily selling or pushing something. You're getting to know that person and what that person is passionate about.
Love
Oh,
it.
I love it. Come on, who want to take it next? Shane just
that
drops the
was
mic every time
Shane.
he say something. Like,
Boom.
Like, you need to go last if you're gonna be the best. Like, that's the rotation, Shane.
You ladies are killing it. Don't do that to me.
So I agree with Shane. I think as far as platforms, LinkedIn is like the best one that I have used recently. I'm so excited because Snoop Dogg joined LinkedIn yesterday, y'all. I don't know why. I felt like everyone needed to know, but follow him because it's been gold all day, everything he posts. And to Shane's point, I think storytelling is a big deal, but also, and Ty knows this, I truly like to make friends. So I consider myself someone who's really good at connections that happens to be networking. So the best example I can give you is I saw Ty at Apartmentalize 2 years ago, and she had on this amazing white suit, and I whispered to another adult and said, I'm gonna be her friend. And I just walked over and I was like, I love your suit. I love your energy. How can we be friends? Who are you? And I didn't know what she did or anything like that. So I'm really big on not having transactional connections at first. Like, just who are you? How can I know you? Let's be, friends at least. And then whatever that turns into, it's usually a great long lasting thing. But just try to make genuine connections with people, and always a genuine compliment is liked by all people. So I've never met someone who doesn't like to say, oh, I noticed your haircut or your LinkedIn picture is different, whatever you have for them.
yes, definitely, Ashi. I'm big on making people feel good because, as Shane said, people don't forget how you made them feel. And a compliment and recognizing things about people definitely does that. Angie, what do you have to contribute?
They covered it all, really. I mean, LinkedIn is an extraordinary opportunity to connect with other people. It not only gives you the opportunity to get to know them, their profile, and kind of see what they're interested in, but you get to see who you're connected with. And I think that's even more important than that person's profile. How are you really connected with that person? Who can you call to find out more about that person? More about what their likes and dislikes are. The other piece is these association meetings, just like Ashia said. If you see somebody at a meeting and you like their suit, or you like their hair, or you like their, for a while in the industry, it was all about the socks and the pocket squares and the flowers, and whatever it is, utilize those opportunities to make a connection with somebody. And most importantly, I think, is being engaged in those committees. You're going to go to those committee meetings. You're going to sit down next to somebody that you may not know. And those are tremendous opportunities to get to meet people across the country, or across the city if you're doing something locally. And you have an opportunity to talk about whatever it is you're sitting there for, whether it's education, whether it's government affairs or legislative issues. You have an instant connection there where you can utilize that. So those are the platforms that I like best.
Yeah, no, those are amazing answers. I definitely piggyback off of you guys with LinkedIn. Now in this day and time, that is definitely the platform I think that's getting the most buzz as far as business. And I agree with all of you. I will go up to somebody and just start talking to make that connection. But I love what you said too, Shane, about the story, because when I think about my years at NAA and the biggest speakers that have gotten on the stage, the ones that I remember and inspired me the most were the ones who told a story. I think his name was Doc Henley, and he talked about turning wine into water. One time he was a general session speaker, and he talked about coming from being a bartender to creating fresh water in a third world country. And this was years ago. This was during my Finder days. So this was 7-8 years ago. And today I'm still talking about him because the story that he told touched me and it inspired me. So definitely storytelling and just making genuine connections. If you see me out in the NAA world, if you just walk up to me and tell me I'm skinny or my outfit looks cute, I am instantly your friend, okay? So I'm just letting you guys know that part. So before we move on to the next question in the chat, Monique Edwards says, the joyful leader, Ashia. I see you apply this consistently and you love to see it. Be your authentic self, build and maintain that genuine connection, relationship, and show up. AJ says, ChatGPT has been a game changer for me for helping me better understand my competitors and even more understanding the pain points in multifamily. And I think we have another one in here about ChatGPT, guys. Kara House says, yes, Ashia, you're a queen of empathetic, authentic engagement and appreciative inquiry. So important for making meaningful and lasting connections. And Jennifer says, I would like to know how each of you are involved in serving or giving back to your local association. Is it hard to get started? It's on my list to join a committee. So before we go to the next question, if we want to answer Jennifer's question, is anybody involved in serving or giving back at the local association?
I do a lot with my local association, Jennifer. I would say just, and for the rest of the panel, certainly feel free to chime in, but Jennifer, just go to the local association website. There's usually a sign up link to sign up for committees. I know for AANC, NAA, and for most local affiliates, something along the lines of like a next gen committee is usually a great place to start, kind of a testing the waters first time committee member. Your association may not call it a next gen committee, but it's usually something that's for professionals that are either newer to networking or newer to the multifamily industry, and that's a great place to start. It doesn't cost anything. It's usually an hour a month to join a committee meeting, and then if you want to volunteer additional time for any events that they host, which are usually after hours, so it doesn't take away from your work, all you have to do is just go to the website and sign up. Super easy.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that, Shane. Anybody else have anything to contribute?
Yeah, I was gonna say, sorry. I was
Yeah,
gonna say
go ahead.
I know for our local committee, I'm in Pennsylvania. We're always looking for people to join any of the committees. And NextGen is definitely a great place to start. If you have anything that you're specifically interested in outside of that, I think that's always a good idea. So we have a DE&I committee. That's something I'm passionate about. So I'm on that committee. Legislation, whatever your interests are, find something aligned with that, and just get started.
No, I echo all of that because I think it really comes down to your passion. You know, what is your passion? Do you like education? Are you somebody who's not afraid of asking people for money? When I first got involved in the association, people think automatically that my dad got me involved, and it really was a carpet supplier who serviced my property that said, I know you're an athlete, let's go play some golf. And that's how I got involved in the golf committee. That's also how I started raising money for PAC. That's also how I got involved in raising money at a national level for PAC, and how I got involved in legislative issues. So it can spiral, but I would tell you, everybody, just find your passion. And this industry, the committees, you know, we can plug you in anywhere, and you can utilize your skill set for that. The other person I would say that you need to reach out to at your association if you're a supplier or you're just somebody new to the industry or new to that local affiliate, is call the membership person at that affiliate. That membership person, I was on the call with 2 affiliates today, getting my new sales team or our new customer service team, account management team, connected in those affiliates. One of them was with Seattle, one of them was in San Diego. So, because of my work at NAA, I'm able to get those folks plugged in at the local affiliate by going through the membership folks, and then leaning on my supplier network to get them engaged in the apartment association.
Yes, definitely. Those are great suggestions for Jennifer. Jennifer, this is definitely a give back industry. So
Yep.
just, honey, you won't have to search that hard. Like, there's a lot, because multifamily, and that's the thing I love about it. And that's why I'm so passionate and give so much to the industry, because we are an industry that gives back. So Irvin says, who is your favorite celebrity to follow on LinkedIn? Now, Alshia, we know Snoop Dogg and one for you. So are we following any other celebrities out there on LinkedIn, guys?
I don't know that I'm really following any celebrities. I think I follow some famous multifamily personalities, including, all of the panelists here. But, there's always people like Betsy Kirkpatrick and Tony Sosa, some big personalities, Stephanie Anderson. Some of the big movers and shakers in multifamily are my quote unquote famous people that I would follow on LinkedIn.
Definitely. And you follow me. So you follow a celebrity. You just didn't know it. Not yet. You don't know it.
I just follow Ty and Ashia.
Yeah.
Dave and I are we're just now like getting to know each other. So I just hit him up on LinkedIn as well. Hopefully he'll accept my connection. No, I'm just kidding. No, I follow Simon Sinek. I don't know if anybody knows him. He's a motivational speaker. He just tells it like it is, y'all. There is no minced words about it, but he's phenomenal. I love to follow him. So
yes. And I like what Shane said. We have celebrities within the multifamily industry too. Like Alex Jacque, Tony Sosa, and these are people that you recently saw on Talking with Ty podcast. If you did not, please run back the replay, because I have the biggest celebrities in the multifamily industry. Someone said Melissa D. White is my celeb. She's my celeb too.
Mike Brewer, he's at Radco. He's amazing.
Yeah, you know what? This is an industry guy. We have a lot of amazing, and it's because multifamily people usually are multifaceted too. We do so many things that you have authors, you have motivational speakers, so you're a celebrity if you're a property manager. Hats off to you in this industry, like real talk. So
that's one of the things we talked about it earlier, but that's one of the things that has changed about the industry is now you've got all of these influencers on LinkedIn. So most management companies today have a couple faces that they will put out there to talk about the industry, to talk about what they're doing, to give you insight to what's happening. So you should reach out to those guys to follow them, to learn a little bit more about the industry and what's happening.
I definitely agree with that. The chat is going wild, guys. Dunn says we will notice the person before the products that they are offering.
Yep.
We definitely should, Dunn. If you notice the product first, there's a problem. Moshe Crane is a good one to follow. Monique Edwards says, joining the programs the association offers are also beneficial ways to meet and connect with people. NAA programs such as the Diversity Leadership Program, 20 in their 20s, and the Leadership Lyceum. Shout out to my classmate Ashia and Shane, class of 2023.
My friends show up, y'all. Like there's 6 of us, but we go everywhere together.
Anthony says, Gary, I'm not going to butcher Gary's last name. He's a great one to follow on any platform. Get your pen and piece of paper, guys. Gary has a long one.
It's Gary V.
Gary V.
Gary V.
Gary V. Thank you. Anthony, why didn't you just say Gary V? Why you try to do me like that, Anthony? So moving along, because we got 16 minutes left. How to effectively transition from online networking to in-person. And this is going to go to Shane and Ashia. Ashia, you go first because we already know what Shane gonna do.
Yeah, Shane, thank you, Ty. So for me, I am just not too cool for anything. Anyone who knows me knows that. So like if I've seen Angie a lot of times on LinkedIn and I feel like we have similar interests and I like her post, when I see her in person, I'm all about, hey Angie, I liked your last post. I saw you and Kirk were doing this, blah blah blah. Like if I happen to also be Facebook connected with someone, because that does happen a lot in our industry, and it was just like their grandkid's birthday and I thought that the cake was cool, I will just genuinely be like, oh my God, where did you get that cake from? So for me, I have no qualms in seeming like a fangirl if I enjoy the person online and letting them know that, because I think that they can tell when it's a genuine energy. And worst case scenario, they go, that was weird. Best case scenario, we're friends forever, like us all now connected. So I think just say hi and say you know them, because you do know them, and go from there.
No, I love that. Shane, before you respond, I want to say to what you just said, Ashia, I think it's weird when people don't do it. When they see it on social media, they comment on it, they like the button, and then they see you in person and they're like this. And it's like, boom, you know that I just did something really huge. You saw it on Facebook. Say something about it. Yes. So Shane, what would you say?
I would say to Ashia that I'm a fanboy and I am very happy to be connected with you. But for everybody out there, I would say to, transitioning from online to in-person, do it at your own pace. Be on the lookout for events that are posted online. Find one that you're interested in that you can go to and pull in a friend to go with you so that you're not there feeling alone or like a wallflower. Set a goal for yourself, maybe to introduce yourself, depending on how many people are at the event. Maybe you want to set a goal of introducing yourself to a minimum of 3 to 5 people and exchange contact information. That's a great way to start. Or maybe someone has reached out to you on LinkedIn from the supplier side. Maybe they did slide into your DMs, but they didn't immediately start pitching something. And they do want to get to know you first. Oftentimes suppliers will offer to meet you for coffee or a lunch meeting. Take them up on it. You've really got nothing to lose. If anything, you're going to get a free lunch or a free cup of coffee. And y'all know I'm all about some Starbucks. But sure, they're probably going to try to share with you what their business is about, but in turn, you're building your network of people to reach out to when you do need a service. And you're also opening yourself up to more contacts within the web of contacts that individual has, because it is very much a spider effect. So don't be shy, don't be scared, just kind of put yourself out there. You can start as big or as small as you want to.
No, I love that. One of the things we talk about in our activation coaching group with Melissa D. White is other people's platforms, other people's networks. So connecting yourself with other people, you get access to their people. And I always say, I am a friend of a friend. It feels good to be referred. And hey, Angie told me about you. Hey, Ashia mentioned your name. That's the way I'm on this platform today with you guys, is Ashia throwing my name in the hat. So it's always great to use other people's network and to be a friend of a friend. So moving along to our next question. Monique said, preach, Shane. Okay. Ashia is an amazing follow. Dana Duckworth, thank you. The hilariously unemployed. Susie says, I agree. Building a network is key. Irvin says, I'm a big believer in sharing our networks. We as much need from our suppliers as they also need from us. Hey, we might not need this service at this time, but this person does. We are a network. Okay, Irvin, I like that. All right, moving on to question 8. So this is going to be just for Ashia. It says, how do you network differently for people from different generations and different personality types?
I would like to start by saying nobody is old that I know in this industry. Everyone is young and spry. But for the most part, I think I really try to figure out who someone is and how they enjoy communicating. So some people are really big texters. Some people are phone call people. To Angie's point, there are people who like to hand me a business card. I will never take someone's business card and go, do you have like the QR code? If you give me a business card, I take your business card. Worst case scenario, I take a picture of it with my phone. And then that, like, I try to make sure everyone feels comfortable because networking is really like stretching yourself and kind of going into this uncomfortable place. So I don't need to add to your anxiety by being like, I don't like the way that you want me to receive this information. So really, for people who like business cards, whatever age they are, I take the business card. If I prefer to keep it in my phone, I keep it in my phone. For people who have the QR codes, I use that. I really just think be open because you never know who someone is beyond that point, and it could be like a genuine connection. And if you don't take the business card or you don't scan the QR code, you could be missing out on a good opportunity later for yourself or your organization. So really just meet people where they are. It costs you nothing.
I love that. Meeting people where they are, because like you said, you don't want to require somebody to give you their information a certain way and miss out on a connection because that wasn't the way that you wanted to make the connection. So it's all about being accessible to other people and meeting them the way that they are. So before we get to our final question, which is going to be for everybody, Jordan says, Wallflower, you see things, you understand. I love that you take your time to take the risk to put yourself out there. That's one of the best things with networking. So Wallflower, you're the person that's against the wall like this. Put yourself out there. So the last question to you guys, what is the one thing you would tell someone new to the industry on how to network in multifamily? We're going to start, Shane, you're going last. I'm not playing, you're going last. Angie, we're starting with you.
Holy mackerel, where to start? Start with your supervisor, start with your peers around you, get involved in the local apartment association. You know, find a supplier that you can meet at one of the affiliates at one of the events. Make them, people want to feel like they're included in those situations. So I would say start there, start a little bit small and then grow your network, grow your confidence in, being comfortable in that situation with those different committees. That's where I would start.
I love it. So what do you got for us, Ashia? What is the one thing you would tell someone new to the multifamily industry on how to network?
It's kind of a play on what Angie said. When I first started out, I always tried to network up. Like, oh, I want to meet a CEO. I want to meet a president. And I think the thing that I learned was network where you are. So like if you're a property manager, meet other property managers. If you're, leasing associate, meet other leasing associates. Eventually you will like network up, but the people who are kind of in the trenches with you or at the same level in their career, those are usually the easiest for you to have a connection with, build rapport, build a relationship, and then go from there. So I would say really focus with networking with the people who are where you are and just kind of let it grow.
Well, you know what? I love that. And Shane, before you kick in and give us your final thoughts with what you said, Ashia, on networking up, the one thing about multifamily is they can be your networking peer today and your networking up tomorrow. Yeah. Because there is nothing for a leasing professional to go from a leasing professional to a regional in 6 months in this industry. So be very careful with not wanting to network with people that you feel are not on your networking level. So I really love that you pointed that part out, Ashia. Shane.
Before Shane lays down some nuggets of awesomeness, I would say the same thing when don't ever discount a relationship with a supplier, because there are a lot of folks that go from the property management side to the supplier side and supplier side to the property management side. And although this industry is very large, and I think this kind of takes this conversation full circle, it's a very small industry. So you want to make sure that you are networking with everybody, because again, those folks, if you switch sides, you're going to need your peers, you're going to need your suppliers, you're going to need their help, regardless if you're on property management or the supplier. We've got all of that going on. So just take care of your network, regardless if it's up, down, sideways, below you, whatever. Just be nice to everybody.
Definitely. This is a merry-go-round industry. So you see people all over once you've seen them once. So definitely that's a great point, Angie. So Shane, take us on home.
Let's hear it, Shane.
What is your best advice?
All
for
right,
someone
let's hear it,
that's new?
Shane.
I mean, I agree with everything that you ladies said, and you made a great point, Ty. I do think it's planting a seed, because that's part of building that relationship. You plant that seed and create a good relationship with that one that is a leasing professional now, and one day they will be a big decision maker. But Jennifer touched on it earlier with her question. I really think, and Angie mentioned it too, start by volunteering at a local affiliate. Just join a committee. It's super simple, and it's one of the easiest ways to get your foot in the door and introduce you to others in a group environment. And one of the things that really worked for me was finding a buddy. I latched on to a person that, had a really great outgoing personality. And when I saw that person having a conversation with others at events, I was able to walk over and join into the conversation without necessarily feeling like I was walking up to a group of strangers, because I did know someone who was in that group. And then that person brought me into the fold and introduced me to everyone that they knew in their conversations as well. So it's all part of weaving that web. Again, it's a spider effect. And, if you don't weave the web, you're not really going to get anywhere.
Yes, no, I love it. And the best advice I can give you guys out there is to become friends with the association executive for your apartment association. And they're laughing, but I'm being serious, guys, because I'm telling you, I know who's hiring. I know what new management company is coming into town. I know when they're looking for people. And like Shane said, I am able to be that third wheel in a conversation when maybe you're not as confident. I'm the friend that's going to say, oh, Angie, you need to meet Ashia. Come on over here. This is such and such. And I make the introduction and I walk off. So make sure you have those key relationships. Before we end today, guys, there are a few more things in the chat. Dunn says, learn to be a resource, not only for the services you provide, but try to help everyone by connecting. I just said that, Dunn. I just said that. All right, Susie says, I say that all the time. Network with them all. The leasing consultant will eventually be the property manager or regional. Build bridges, don't burn them. Irvin says, a big shout out to all of the suppliers. Despite knowing that the individual might not have the signing power, I got you once we were at the RM level. We got you and we will remember you. That's huge for all of our suppliers that say the decision maker is not there though, Ty. It's only the leasing, it's only the assistant. Irvin just backed me up in saying that leasing agent, if they stick around, they will be the regional manager. And guess what? Now, instead of getting one contract signed, you're going to get the entire portfolio. Monique says, take care of the network, Angie. Terrellyn says, such amazing nuggets shared amongst a variety background. Thank you for your transparency and your authenticity. Irvin says, amen, Ty. I know, Irvin. Thank you. Jennifer, so many spider references, Shane. Yeah, Shane's been all over the place and just been bridging it all back together. And then Patrice Hicks is our last one. And she says, I am glad to call Ty my friend. She helps me meet new people and trying to break me out of my shell. I do that, don't I, Patrice? Thank you. And Shane, all of us follow you on LinkedIn. Oh, Shane says that. Kelly says, I'm working with the vendors now that I've met at the leasing specialist because they took the time to build a relationship with me then. I started as leasing. I'm an AE now. A lot of people started as leasing in this industry and now are some of our what we call multifamily celebrities. So thank you guys. We are 1 minute away. Stephanie has popped back on. Angie, Ashia, and Shane, you have been an amazing panel today. Thank you so much for sharing. Stephanie, we are kicking it back to you, girl.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. This was amazing. So entertaining and engaging and so many great tips. I am a wallflower and, I'm going to have to really up my game here. So before we close, I just wanted to take a moment to promote NAA and HD Supply's new program, Maintenance Legends. This is a wonderful opportunity to recognize the legendary maintenance professionals in your life. So make sure to submit their stories by August 31st at 11:59 p.m. so they can be considered for the August prize packages. We'll be selecting 3 winners for the month of August, and then we'll have another contest in September. But thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope everyone has a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.